I was reading Teilhard de Chardin's The Divine Milieu. I don't know if you know much about Teilhard. He was a Jesuit priest and a paleontologist. He was born with this maybe not nearly, this erotic connection to nature. It was just a part of him, like this, it was a reality to him. The living, breathing word that nature is. And he was also enamored and devoted to Christ and was a mystic and longed for the church to realize how connected these parts were that seemed disparate to them or to the institutional church. And he was like so before his time that it wasn't until his work was published posthumously that what he exhaled during his time on earth pollinated and called us into something that in this present moment on earth is, I feel, instructive. I was reading the book with a book group, and it was the night before we were going to meet, and I didn't think I was going to go, so I hadn't even read it. But I decided to go, and I'm reading the introduction, and just like not that many pages in, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to look up his astrology chart. He's got to be a Taurus. But then the way he talked about his conversations and how learning and, you know, talking and connecting around ideas was so life-giving for him. I was like, ooh, as a Gemini, I also recognize some Gemini energy in there. So I looked up his chart and I was like, oh my gosh, he has 6 planets in Taurus and he's a Gemini rising. So that intuition, and in our first meeting, I'm in this meeting with wonderful people who have their own lives, their own particularity. And it also, like, I feel 1 or 2 standard deviations away from the mean in the way that I experience the world. And so, what I offered was my experience with noticing the astrology. And what I perceive that often we have the tendency to do is to put another being on a pedestal and to talk about how great they are as if they have something we don't have, and to gather around them. And this is also how we learn. The reality is, in order, I think, to really fully and responsibly develop in our own nature, we have to see others who have done it. We need to, maybe we don't need to. That's been my experience, is what I see in others who are inhabiting their nature. It arouses something in me to want to do that in my own life. And what if this is actually what it means to follow Christ? Is that Christ. I know, bringing this other perspective in, but like, what if following Christ is not trying to live by the letter of the words? What if it's actually imitating Christ from the inside? What if it's living so fully in accordance with our nature in a way that harmonizes with Christ? And, I'm drawing from other thinkers and teachers in this and mystics. And so that is one of the sort of pieces on this collage for me is um, what if Teilhard had tried to um, push through the inherent wisdom he was born with? Yeah, it's fascinating for me to think about it. Um, that the most loving thing I can do for the world is to become who my soul was imprinted to be, to develop my soul. Um, there are like people like Gurdjieff say, you aren't born with a soul. You have to develop a soul. Like it's an active process of awakening